Can closing out a credit card hurt your credit score? In order to answer that, we need to look at what makes up your credit score. There are 5 sections generally that make up your credit score. The first is your payment history. Are you on time with your payments or not? The next one is the amount owed, the amount of outstanding debt. The next one is the length of credit history. What is your oldest credit source? For example, if you have a mortgage and that's 10 years old, you could have a credit card that you've had open for 25 years. Your oldest credit line would then be the credit card. And then the next 2 are new credit. When you apply for new types of credit, hard inquiries can hurt your score if it's more than 1 or 2. And the final is your credit mix, the types of credit that you have. For example, home loan or car loan, these are installment type lines of credit where you pay the loan off and it closes out that line of credit. But a credit card is a type of revolving credit where it can stay open as long as you need it to. Let's look to see which of these contributing factors to your credit score are affected when you close out a line of credit. Closing out a credit card doesn't change what history you had with the credit card. If you had on-time payments, those on-time payments are still on record, and closing out the credit card isn't really going to affect this area. If you have 1, 2, or even 3 credit cards, closing 1 or 2 of them out may or may not affect your credit. Let's look at a few situations to see which ones affect your credit score and which ones don't. If you have 3 credit cards and the credit limit on each of those credit cards is $10,000 and you have no balances on any of those cards, closing 1 or even 2 of those cards will not affect your credit score. When it starts to affect your credit score is when you start having balances on them. Let's say that I have 3 credit cards each with $10,000 limit, and I have a $3,000 balance on one of the cards. No problem if I close one of the cards because my credit utilization is still less than 30% of my total available balance. If I close a second credit card, my credit utilization is now 30% out of a possible 10,000. I'm right on the line of what would affect the credit. So even closing a second credit card would not affect it. In this third case, I have 3 credit cards, each with a $10,000 limit. And now one of the cards has a $4,000 balance. If I close one of the cards out, it won't affect my credit because out of a possible 20,000, I'm utilizing 4,000, which is 20% of my available credit. If I close the second credit card, now I'm using 40% of my available credit. So now the credit utilization has triggered something that would cause the credit score to fall. The length of credit history is a simple one. If the credit card is the oldest credit that you have, closing it would definitely affect your credit. Otherwise, it's not going to matter. Applying for new credit obviously affects your credit if there's too many inquiries, but when you're closing out a credit card, this category absolutely is not going to count. The category of credit mix, home loans, car loans, as we said before, mortgages and car loans, once they're paid off, those loans go away. Revolving types of credit, which are continually open, are HELOC, home equity line of credit, and the use of credit cards. If you don't have one of these 2 categories for revolving credits, it narrows your credit mix. Credit mix is actually the smallest category. It only affects your credit score overall. It's about 10%, but it still contributes. So in this category, if you close out a credit card and it was your only type of revolving credit, that would absolutely lower your credit score. Small amount, but it would still do.